All right, so we're recording right now. Let me sign into EA really quickly so I can get onto this Dynasty. The reason I'm going to use a Dynasty is I like my playbook, but I know some of the players that I have in here just a little bit better. Actually, before I even do that, let's really start with like some of the basics, right? Some of you may know this, whoever consumes this video, but actually this is really for you. So if anyone else is watching it, great. Just know that I'm directing a lot of this content tailored to him. So one of the best things you can do is go into game settings. What I do, I have my custom playbooks that I have already created and they're set to my favorites. So anytime I play a game in a dynasty, I don't have to change them. They're already set here. Why I do this. In dynasties, I like to create and cultivate what I like to do offensively. If you play online, you just have to play with team-specific playbooks, and that's fine. That's fine. You just need to get familiar with that, and familiarity is one of the things I talk about in the video. We'll talk a little bit about that after I get through kind of the setup of what I do and how I use passing. One of the biggest things that I think is important, is this in here? Yep, passing mechanics. Apologies about that. So I use placement and accuracy. They introduced this maybe like 2 or 3 years ago to Madden. And the reason for this was there's a reticle and kind of like a shadowy area that you can place a ball in. Now, the reticle essentially is where the ball will land in that little passing area. That passing, slow down, ignore that, turn that off. The pass lead increase. So essentially what used to happen is, or what does happen is you have the shaded area, and I'll show you here in a second. You have the shaded area where you can throw the football. And that window is where the ball will be in, so to speak, for a decent pass, like an average blue if you use revamp passing, green or yellow even in placement and accuracy. What they used to have is that it used to be either near or far, and near was the maximum range that you could put it in that shaded area for a catch. So you could move the reticle to the far edge, and that would be the furthest you could that it was still a catch. What they've done is they've added this none, which is essentially that. They've added small, so you can go even outside of that window. Why is that important? So if I'm throwing deep balls and I want to throw it in its perfect accuracy and I throw it like a little bit further so my guy has to go run under it and catch it, that's huge, right? Because I'm throwing it outside of the range of catchability, but if it's a deep ball, I'm going to go run under it and catch it. So it's a little bit smaller. Sometimes you're going to miss, but you're going to miss a lot more in shorter passes. Medium is pretty big. It's really hard to control. Large, I've not seen people control it really well at large. Some people are really good at the game and they can. So I just have it on none. It works for me. Find the passing style that works for you. If you want to use classic, if you want to use revamped, whatever placement, whatever, do it. For me, placement and accuracy is the best. So enough of that. Settings. Go set those things up. Make sure that everything's custom to you, right? Tailored to making you as successful as possible. So I'm going to go back to my Dynasty and why I'm choosing this team, even though it's Georgia State. It's my second season with them. I got a couple of good players, and so I want to use those guys, and I'll show you really quickly like why, because it's going to make the passing a little bit easier for me. I got Malachi as a transfer, but his stats are pretty darn good, and that's going to help me explain this video a little bit better in free practice. I hope I can use my customs in free practice. It would be really unfortunate if I could not. Oops. Yep, okay. So we're gonna get into practice, and I'm just gonna talk a little bit about like how to read pass plays. I think that's one of the first things that you're gonna see, and I hate that they give you this like music in the background that I didn't turn down, so hopefully this isn't too loud for you. So I'm just gonna pick a random shotgun play, which is just hitting L3 twice on that, and then I'm just going to pick random defense. So I can just start seeing random things that happen. So what are we going to talk about? First, how to read pass plays, right? So what this is saying is anytime you see red on a route, that's typically your primary read or your first read, right? You all have watched enough football to understand like their reads and how things work as you work through a passing play and progressions against whatever you see. So right here, here's a pretty base. Looks like a 4-3, might be like a nickel under. And so why I say that is nickel under, and I can't point to this defender, but he's over 87. He looks like he is a safety that's down in the box. So to me, that says like a nickel under or over, but I said under just based on their positioning. Anyway, if you look at this on the right side of the screen, right where my circle is, my circle receiver. I'm just going to use it by the buttons. It's easier instead of saying X, Y, Z, flanker, et cetera, et cetera. Slot Y, whatever you want to use. I just look at that side, right? So there are 4 down linemen. This is a really clear picture. 4 down linemen. You have a backer in the middle of the field who's our Mike, right? And so not going to talk about like how the line's going to block or anything like that, but like right now I have 3 guys on that side of the field for technically possibly 4 defenders. I would say really you have circle and X to the outside corner and that safety that's there. So I have 2 guys for that concept. My X is going inside, so really it's R1 going outside and circle. So I just have to figure out what those 2 guys are going to do, right? Like the safety's not going to drive down from 20 yards off the ball and stop this play. It's just not going to do it. Users may try and do something like that to muddy the picture, but I should look at circle first, right? Because what is this guy going to do? What is that corner going to do? Because he's going to be the guy that has my responsibility. So I need to just determine what circle is doing and whether I'm going to R1 or circle here, right? Now, if this is man, which could be, doesn't look like it, but could be, now I have to muddy that picture a little bit. But really, it's just watching that outside corner and understanding what he's going to do. And so he's stepped off, you go underneath. It's a really like basic concept. Like you're just looking at simple things to make sure you are in the right place. And that's like really how you want to start reading pass plays, right? This is a short concept because it's a mesh, like a crosser. They might call it a shallow crosser, which it is. But you kind of have this like drive concept on the right side of the field. So like the R1 and X, but you also have a cross going back. So that's why they call it a cross. But and typically some people call it a mesh. But anyway, the idea is triangle, is coming back across, and I'm gonna look at R1 because like this is going to be a quick hitting play. Like what those outside routes are for, my X receiver, my square and my circle receiver, their goals are to run this play off. Like I shouldn't even look at them. Like they're not a part of this unless something is completely busted. Like do not look at this, right? That's the easiest way I can teach this and teach these plays is you're looking at the drag first, and then all you're reading is, again, this Mike defender. Like the way they're shaded, it looks like man, right? You have like this kind of inside man over the triangle. They're kind of shaded inside across the board, actually. And that middle linebacker is kind of over X. So it looks like you have man 2 under, right? So like they're going to, depending how your defender shades it, doesn't matter. Just know that it's man. So like, what is going to beat man on this play? Well, I know that my R1 guy is, he's not really that fast, but he's probably going to win on a drag of off coverage, right? That's just how it's going to work. Now, triangle may win, depending on if that leverage is good. X may win, probably won't. Everyone else, just, you're not going to worry about circle or square. But that's the pre-snap decision, right? Like, that's what I think is going to happen. They could just be lined up in man in the shell. Like they could have a man 2 shell, right? They could have anything that says I'm in man, but they come back out. It could be a match coverage and it's zone, right? It could be anything. But like what we're doing is saying, I believe that I see man and that R1 is my first read, right? So your eyes are going to tell you, like R1 is going to be the first across, then X would be your next, and then triangle after that. So that's kind of how I'm going to read this play, right? It's just how your eyes read from your first receiver, your first man to your second, right? So it's going to be R1, X, triangle, right? So it's man, R1's not there, it's kind of there. Triangle took forever because this team's terrible, but should have gotten a rub. But X is really the guy you go to, right? First read X, or R1 was there. Was hoping that, triangle would have gotten off that, but again, it's Georgia State, and these guys are not very good. So that's kind of what you do here. Here, this is kind of an isolated, like, I expect to have single coverage out there, so that could be against a man concept. It could be cover three, cover four. Typically, cover four, you're going to have a flat defender underneath that, but you may have other routes messing with it. But typically, here you're going to look at man and cover three. Man and cover three kind of operate the same way. But the idea is, I'm out here. I need to make a decision to say that is my first read on the left side. Probably just going to throw this out there. The read is going to be easier on the right side, right? Because it's kind of like you have two outside mirrored concepts. It looks like it would be rather open on the right. It's really tight on the left side. I shouldn't probably throw that. But the way that's going to look is like you're waiting for him to get depth to determine whether he is in that single coverage and no one's underneath it. If the guy runs out underneath it, the guy being corner stays with it, it's press coverage. Looks like it could kind of be a cover six again. Could be this weird kind of cover one-y look where you have like man on one side, or excuse me, your press, not cover one, excuse me, cover six, cover nine press kind of thing, cover three press. Anyway, the point being is you need to determine if that guy is going to get space out there. He may not. The safety's pressed down on that side, so it looks like he's there to help that side. So I may get even a corner blitz, right? I just don't know really what that's going to look like. But if this were me playing this and reading this out, I would say I have to wait to see what happens with square. At that point, I'm waiting. That's going to clear up the picture for triangle. It's going to clear up the picture for R1. R1 probably is going to be okay because he's going to sit because this is probably a zone. But again, you're looking at square. You're then going to look to triangle. You're probably going to look to X at that point as your check down, right? You don't have a lot of time here. If you want to get really fancy in advance, like I see the mirror side and I go, okay, well, there's probably a deep zone with that safety on the right side of the field, and possibly a deeper zone with the corner over there. So I may get the look I want on the right side. That's just me. I know that. I don't have to think about it. I just need to see how the picture post snap looks. So I've done all that pre snap, and now it's time to think about it post snap. I go, okay, snap. I got that X, right? Like that. It just is what it is. Like you just have to see it, and that takes repetition. It takes doing this. I've played this game for God knows how long against people, and I'm not really that good, but like this is just how it works over time. You just have to do it. You can't just like get into a game and be like, okay, yeah, I did the thing. You just got to do it. So this is another play that I like to run out of this, like kind of like love the, I'm a big Varsity Blues fan. My buddy, rest in peace. Oop to you, baby. Run the fucking oop to you. Love doing this. This is just going to be, I think it's called a halfback screen out of this. It's just determining man or not. If you see the guys on the right side of the field, they drop off. It's throw the screen. If it's those four engaged, throw the slant. Very simple read. But for me, I would just change this play into a QB blast because I got 4 down linemen for 5 to block. I'm running for days, right? But just if you want to try and pass this and just so you see what I'm looking at, just watch the right side of the screen. That's all you have to do, and that's going to determine where this ball goes. Saw them all jump off, right? They all backed off. That's a good 3-4 yard gain. That's all we're looking for. We're not looking to do this. So this is another QB blast. Based on the way that these guys are mugged up like this, and this is double mug. I forgot out of which double mug. It could be 2-4, double A gap, and then there's double mug. But anyway. The idea is that they're just trying to muddy up the A gaps, right? So you see on the offensive side, right, outside of the center is the A gap, the B gap, then C gap, and so on and so forth. They're in basically, I guess, one eye at this point, tech. So I guess anyway, you get it. Well, you don't get it, but I'm not going to go beyond that. But the idea is they're trying to muddy the A gap for me, but based on what looks like outside, there's nobody over my tight end who's number 14. So that tells me that this is not man. It tells me that those guys are going to bail out. One of the two is going to bail out. So like in this QB draw, I hope it's not a QB draw, and I hope it's actually like a blast, but I think it's a draw because of those routes. One of them's going to bail out, and I'm going to have free reign to run. They both bailed out, but just I hate the draws in this game because they're not very good. Next thing, as we talk about pass plays, again, X is the go-to. In this, it's really going to be X to triangle because that's your kind of your read as you go across the field, because you're always going to go deep to short unless you're running kind of play action stuff from under center. But you're going to go deep to short, and X is going to be probably my primary. I know that this is man blitz. If you see the alignment outside, like there's nobody in the middle of the field. Everyone's eyes on your guy in front of you. Like the linebacker's coming through. This linebacker who's the mic is coming through. Let me identify this. This guy's also coming through. It kind of depends just how you want to block that. Now, if you notice that, great. I have 5 guys to block 6. How do I want to do that? Typically, you go inside to out blocking, right? You don't want anything in your face because that's hilarious. But also, the idea is somebody is going to be bearing down at my chest. So, again, I'm going to go X to triangle. But I know that this guy who is that safety has to get underneath this route. So I could change that to a drag. I could change it to a slant. I'd probably want to change it to a drag. This little short over might work. But the idea, I could do a short cross like that. That's definitely going to work. And then I'll get triangle out of here because that's just a mess. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. So now I have the mic identified. So my blocking pattern is going to do this. They're going to go through that guy and kind of, there's going to be a free untargeted defender, right? So what I want to do is I may be able to get a slide off of this, half slide and do this and just say, that's the untargeted guy off the edge. I know he's coming untargeted. I can do that. Or I can do base and say, the mic is untargeted and I got to get the ball out hot. Doesn't matter. Let him come through. Any replacements guys, let him through. And he's like, Shane, you want him to let him through? It's yeah. So I'm going to let him through. I'm going to let this guy through. As you see, he's the untargeted defender, and that's how we're going to block out. And I'm just going to throw it to X because I put him in the shallow cross. That's how it goes, right? And I should not have brought triangle in that slant. But the point being is, you see, all of that is how it looks. Again, here we've kind of done this curl concept before, and then I'm going to move on to the next thing because I don't want this video to be super long. Right, and this is going to lead into the next point after this, is just, again, we're looking at that outside corner, right? This is probably a zone look. We're reading kind of what happens. I may go to the left side because there's 2 for 2, right? And that's a lot easier to read than this 3-on-3 that may not be. But typically what you want to do is just pick the side where you have an advantage, or at least it's even, right? You don't want to go, there's 4 defenders over there for 3 guys, they could have a lot of different concepts on, right? Somebody could, on the defense, could have taken the slot corner and put him on a hard flat. So I'm basically screwed, and that circle is, in a curl flat, right? Somebody could have done something where I have no options to the right side of the field. So let me go back to the left and go, okay, there's two guys over there. Let me think about the left and see what's there, right? And he's got to get down. Again, all that is just reading what that inside those 2 guys did, and that slot guy left. So it's let's go. This is an option. Ignore this. Let's get one more pass play in. All right, I don't want to do this. This is a whole thing. It's a little tight end screen. A little inside screen. Give me a second. Just trying to find the next play. Okay. All right. So this is a play that I love to run. Love running guys off. It's one of my favorite things to do. Pause. But the idea is look at the alignment of that defense, right? That looks weird to you, right? That should look weird to you. There's a guy pressed up on a line, and then the other boundary corner is 10 yards off, really 8 yards, 7 yards off. That looks bizarre. And so to you, that should signify okay, I know that everyone's going long. Maybe he's the closest defender of the line. Let me try and go to that side because he has a lot to gain if he is pressed, or if he is in a cloud 2. He's not really going to jam him because he's not really got a jam. So he may get a free release. So that's where I want to go. But I can tell you that odds are there's some kind of six coverage combo like cover four and cover two on the field right now. Even if they move into like a cover three, this is a great look. I send my slot guy over, or excuse me, my tight end on a slant because I just don't like the hook. Because if I'm late to it, I have nothing at that point. It's just safe. So anyway, this play wants you to read the slot, the seams, right? Which you should always do against cover three. If you see a single high safety, read the seams. But I could read the seams, or I could say, I kind of know what's happening here. Let me look at circle because the seams will be there. I don't need to hit it immediately. But let me look at circle first. 2-1. You know, just a simple decision, right? And then again, so familiarity. That last play is all about familiarity. I know the playbook. I know what I want to do. I know when I have verts what I'm looking for, and that's just practice. That's coming in here and doing this. That's I get it from playing other leagues and stuff, but that's practice. That's just spending 10 minutes, and just doing what I'm doing here, right? Just I didn't know it does that. I didn't know it does that. Okay, cool, great. I'm done. This is not a spending an hour in practice and like I gotta get better. It's just you don't know what look like, and so you gotta make sure. So here's another one, right? Like this is a very bizarre concept, a very bizarre look. Nobody's over folks, but like you see this kind of weird. I'll just start putting out. I can't get to that back safety, but like that guy's looking at his guy. The back safety's looking at the slot guy. This guy's looking at nothing, which is interesting. This guy's looking really at nothing. He's kind of at that. This guy's over nobody. This guy's looking at him, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll put the bike back there. Actually, let me reset that, which is where it needs to be. This tells me that there are going to be a couple guys blitzing. I don't know where from, but this could just be a shell look, right? They could be actually sitting in zone, and it could be, right? So all you're trying to do, again, last thing with familiarity is I know what I'm looking at here. I know that my go-to is circle. Like I need all of these routes to clear out because that's the goal, right? The slot fade is not really there unless it's like completely busted. It's just designed to clear out anything in front of the circle. Like if circle, that corner is in man, that's designed to clear him off to get this good look at a good in-breaking route, hitting a guy in stride. If it's zone, maybe I see that he clears off that little corner, that slot corner, and I have a window there. But if it's not there, my eyes should tell me, like, what does that cornerback do? Does he sit, and does that slot guy sit and the safety get depth? If so, then go to R1. Like, that's just wide open. It's just trying to understand, like, that concept. And if that doesn't happen and they all sit and they cover it up, X is probably going to be wide open because that Mike linebacker right now is not covering him. Right, so that's kind of all we're looking at. That's all we're looking at. That doesn't happen, boom. It's just picking where you need to go and having familiarity with the playbook. And I don't have to think about those routes anymore. Like I know what the concept is. Like this drive concept, I know what it is. I don't have to think about where the ball needs to go. All I have to do is go, okay, where does these defenders go? Ball goes there. That's it. So when we talk about familiarity, I'm saying know what you're calling. Even if it's 20 different plays, know exactly where your offensive players will be, and you don't have to think about it. It becomes second nature, right? So like this, like if I want to go to X, that's going to take a long time to get and develop. Like so, my check down in this play is another way to look at this is X is there. I'm familiar that triangle's going to be my check down. Sometimes I miss triangle. There's a play against Oregon yesterday that I missed a check down that would have been a first down and game over. It still worked out, but I missed it, right? And that happens. But you got to know where the plays are at, right? And so X is going to be a lot. Like he's probably going to be open. Like that's a split safety look. It's very like cover 2E, cover 4E. So I could do something like this because I know I can. And I can kind of move that back a little bit. I can then put this guy on the slant underneath it and just kind of start messing with stuff because like I know what I'm seeing. So like, if I wanted to get against a user, I'd get real crazy. Whoops, what did I do? Against a user, I'd get real crazy. There's not a first down. So what I would do is against user, there we go. I would get real crazy and do something like this so that user I'm putting that user in conflict, right? I talked about in the document I made, I talked about pass plays that work off of each other, right? So like everything that you need to do, some coaches believe in isolation routes. Like I have better guys, they're just going to win. Other teams don't, right? And that was a lot of my complaints about Georgia last year. Side note, not about Mike Bobo specifically, but like we didn't have the receivers, but a lot of our routes and a lot of our combinations were very isolated. Like you got to go win. Like they're identical routes on the opposite sides of fields. Go win. Texas, big thought to me, and I know this is a tangent, but it's important here, is Carson Beck throws an interception on the side of Arian Smith because he thought that a fifth-year senior would win his comeback route. He did not. He ran it at a poor depth, poor break, poor everything, and it's an interception. You look at the other side of the field, I think it was might have been Lovett, but Lovett gets out of his break, he's turned around, won the route, it's done. But like you have to make a guess, right? You have to determine as a QB, like on an isolation route, I guess that's open. So all of that to say, coming back to this is I'm running that post. Why I change it to a post is because that in route, like if it isn't in and that linebacker is in like a middle zone, like it's not going to be open until he gets beyond that linebacker, and that's a lot of time. So why not use this as he runs him off, and the slant will also run this guy off into the middle of the field. So either both of them will be open, none of them will be open, and then circle's open, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing with these is just running these guys off. Boom, there you go. Like it's working in tandem of what you're trying to do. Always. And that's my familiarity with understanding things. It's my familiarity with the playbook. It's my familiarity with the game. You got to get there. That's the biggest thing that you got to do next. And that's not saying you have to be as comfortable as I am right now with explaining and teaching. It just has to be, I have to be comfortable enough when I look at a play to go, okay, I should probably go here because this is probably what's happening. And now I don't have to think about the routes. I just need to see what somebody does or the computer does to determine it, right? So I'm going to the left side of the field all day on this. It's 2 to 3 versus 3 to 4. This is probably going to be something very easy to complete, but you just got to read it. You just got to read the side. Go. Like it's just, that's what you got to do. Okay. That goes kind of into the next thing, ignoring coverage. We talked about numbers games, like that was part of it. This is another one. Numbers game, we got 3 on that side, 1 on the other side. This is just QB run. It's going to work decently well. I should have cut it inside, but the point being, works decently well. So how to read the numbers game. If you struggle throwing under center, if you struggle throwing the football, don't throw under center. You have to know this and then some, because the picture is going to be even grosser. So you just have to know some of that stuff. Spread the game out. If you want to pass, spread things out. It makes the picture a lot easier. People are wider on the field. It makes it a lot easier to read. So this numbers game that I talk about, it's a lot easier to understand if I'm in like a completely different different offense. So give me a second, or not offense, but like I can try some single back stuff. I just don't have anything with like a running back there. So the numbers game, let me do this bunch. And we'll do the Z spot. And then I'll do a random play. I hope we get a good look. All right, numbers. This is great. So I got 3 over there. We talked about this. I got 3 over there for 3 guys, 3 outs. But I need to throw the stick. That's what the game wants me to throw, that spot route. Sorry, I call it a stick. It's not a stick. It's a spot route. And typically when we call a stick or a spot route, it's typically over the ball, right? Like you're going to come in like right over the ball so that it's easy to see for the QB. But anyway, point being, I want to throw that to circle. It's probably going to be open because this looks very conceptually like zone. But I have 3 guys on that side of the field to cover these 3 kind of 2-ish routes. But what this play is designed to do is send X deep like that to clear out some space for the stick and then give that window a clear picture. But what I can do, just to give you a point of what I'm trying to do here, is just run him that way and R1 on a wheel. All right, so you're going to see like how this plays out, right? The 3 for 3. So you're going to see. I just want you to like look at X and circle as they go off the route and see kind of how those three defenders kind of play this. Okay, here we go. See that? Like, you see how they all are like, that's a horrible throw. But you see how, like, they start going out in their zones? Like, it gives you a clearer picture. Like, I have three men, like, three guys to cover three, right? And one is going deep, other's going deep. What does that third defender do? He stayed in the flat, but I knew that the corner would be open, but I threw a really, 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 really bad pass. Red bar. So now you have again, let's do this again. You have 3-2-2 now, right? And you could count that linebacker as it, but he's probably not that middle linebacker where the mic is. He's probably not flowing out. He's probably got a hook zone. So now you got 3 routes to 2. So all you're trying to do is win those 3, and that's it, right? Who does what? You know, and you expect him to catch that, but that's kind of what this basically is when we talk about the numbers advantage, right? So there's another play that I will show you that really helps define that. We talked about the little oop-de-oop. Let me find it really quick. I think it's bunch quads open. Here's another way to just define this for you guys. All right, so I have one guy on that left side of the field. Everybody else is on the right. Let's just focus on the one side, right? I got one guy. Now, what is that safety going to do on this play? That's really all I'm looking for. And this Mike defender, I don't really give a shit about. Like, he's going to blitz, it's fine. Or he's not. He's going to sit out. But he ain't going to, I mean, he might, but he ain't going to probably get underneath that curl. He could, but it's really the safety I got to worry about. Safety's driving down for that. So I got to go to the other side of the field. That's just a very, like, understanding numbers, right? So this is zone, clearly zone. Might even be a cover 2 on the left side. So I might be able to do something like that and maybe get a throw out there, but it's a clear zone. Like, there's a bunch of, nobody's manned up. It's clearly zone. And this kind of helps you clean up the picture of what you're looking at. So yeah, you got a little cover 2. Oops, I meant to hit circle on that, but that's kind of the idea there, is like, you're just kind of clearing that picture and looking at the numbers advantage. One other thing I've talked about in another video is when you run the football, count the numbers, right? Are you running to the left side? Is it a counter? Is it a split zone? Is it a whatever you're doing to the left, to the right? Are you running into a numbers advantage or against it, right? Are you running into 5 guys on that side of the ball or 7? If you're running into 7, you're never it's not gonna work. There's just too many bodies to block for free defenders. So remember that. And then lastly, let's talk about patience. And this is specific to Akshay, this could be for other folks, but let's talk about patience. So I'm going to call a lot of deep developing plays, and I'm not going to call anything that I know, but a lot of deep developing plays. So like R1 is not the point of this. R1 on this play, his job is to pull that hook defender in a little bit so that I can throw this ball in behind him. That is a really, really long developing play. I have to wait for that. I have to anticipate that. But like, you cannot just throw it because he's coming inside. So you just gotta wait. And I don't know if it's gonna be open. I'm not really focused on it being open because X is gonna be wide the fuck open on this play, and I would normally throw it to X. But the point being is, I wanna show you patience, like what it takes to throw that deep dig. Like, gotta wait. And like, I got hit and went there. But like, obviously he's not open, but like, that's what I'm trying to say is like, you have to wait to get that play off. But like, you gotta wait. It clears. And like, because if I throw that a little bit earlier, even though I got hit, that would have been picked by the defender because it wasn't, my end didn't clear. So like, gotta wait. Like, and that's kind of what I mean is like, you have to get that picture of what you're throwing to first. Because initially what actually you're doing is you see, okay, well, I'll look at this play and go, X is going to be open on this play. And what you wind up doing is go, X is going to be open on this play. And maybe X is, maybe it's not, but you throw it to X. And like, I don't know what the picture is. On this, it could be like, triangle's going to be open on this play, or whatever you decide, right? But you then throw the football. And like, you're not seeing what happens after the play develops. And it's just like, I think it's open, I'm throwing it. So like, what I'm hoping you'll do after watching all this, reading all this, and listening is sit down and go, okay, let me come into practice and just go, wait, I see something, let me see if it's open. And then throw it. Once nobody's around him, pick a receiver and just go, okay, I'm gonna wait, just let's wait and see what happens. And then you'll get a little bit more comfortable, right? Like seeing what happens. Even just come in here and get sacked and just watch what happens on these plays. Just okay, you know, and just take a sack and see. Just go, okay, that's how it worked, and then watch another play and take a sack, and watch another play and take a sack, and just kind of see what opens up, and then you'll kind of get that repetition, that understanding of where things can go, all of that kind of good stuff. But patience is the most important thing outside of being familiar with the plays you're calling. Because like I can be patient because I know what the routes are, right? And this is now just anyone else who's watching, enjoy whatever. But for Akshay, like what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sit here and go, I think this is what they're calling defensively. I think this is where the ball should go, and we're gonna look at that, right? So I think this is a variation of a cover four. I think could be a match, but I think what's going to happen is this middle linebacker here is going to go out underneath my circle receiver in the flat. This guy's going to act as a hook defender, and this guy's going to act as a cloud flat defender. I think. Now, I could be wrong. We're going to see. If that's the case, square would be open, R1 would be open, and then triangle, X, and circle are just guys running them off. I will pause there and say that is my expectation. My other expectation based on playing this game is that this could be a inverted 3 look. It could be something where this safety over my, the safety over behind this guy is going to stream into that other flat or play a hook curl, and so this tight end is actually going to be open. But again, remember what we initially thought: the cover four, so circle, X, and triangle are runoffs, so square and R1 are going to be it, right? And square would be my first read on this play. Let's see what happens. It's cover 3 on the other way, so we're still going to get back to it. Like. And the only way I could say that I knew that is like this: the defender over the R1 guy dropped in a hook zone, and then the rest went deep. And he kind of matched up with that triangle guy and kind of went a little bit deeper. So that's why it looked like they were 4 and deep at the end. But point being is like, that's what we're trying to do is say, okay, I see that I think that's happening. Now what happens after I snap it? Because the picture is going to be different. Another thing to help that is to go, look at first, are people blitzing? No? Okay, great. Now I'll have some time. If people are blitzing, just like assume these 6 guys are blitzing, I'm going to throw to R1. That's just what's going to happen. And just assume they're blitzing. It's like, I got to get the ball out. But like, that's what I think I see. Trust what you see and then validate. Trust what you see and validate. Like, think about any blitzers from there, or start with, look at your secondary. Where are they at? Where are they positioned? That's going to tell you, is the middle of the field open? Is it closed? Things will change, but is it middle field open, closed? Middle field's probably going to be open on this play. Maybe it'll be tight to X, but it'll be open probably. So that's kind of what I'm going to look for. Are any of these guys blitzing? Probably the guy next to R1, the darker skin guy on the corner. He's probably going to be blitzing. That's a weird alignment. Just think about that too. Like, why are you in the middle of nowhere? Why aren't you in front of a guy? Why aren't you doing whatever? It's because you're probably blitzing. And this is the game trying to give you little context clues of like, what's going on. Nope, not blitzing. Okay, fine. I got R1 back. I got square back. Those things, right? Like, I was wrong. But you can be wrong and just adjust. But like, you can't be, I was wrong, so I threw it to the first guy that I thought, right? Like, this is a zone, probably cover 3, like the seams, triangle might be open, depending if he gets jammed. But depending if he doesn't, like he's probably going to be open. X may be open after he splits and gets past this linebacker. But those are kind of the things I think, right? So there it is. X, and you hope he catches it, but those kinds of things. Yeah, so that's that. Hopefully this is helpful. I'll put this in the document once it's uploaded. But yeah, hopefully all this is helpful for you and it helps a little bit. Just take some time when you can, like before a game against the computer. Come in here and play, practice for 10 minutes, like, and then play the computer, and then play just to get warmed up. Play something for 5 minutes whenever you can. It does not need to be like I'm working to get better, so I got to spend 40 minutes at this. It does not need to be that. It just needs to be get comfortable with what you're doing, what you're calling, what you're seeing, and that could be 5 minutes before every game, and then you'll get better, and you'll start seeing things right like that. You see things. But yeah, so happy trails and good luck.